I want you to walk into your kitchen right now. I want you to go to the stove or the cabinet where you keep your pots and pans. Reach in and pull out your favorite frying pan. You know the one I mean. It is the non-stick skillet you use every single morning for your eggs. It is the one you use to sauté vegetables for dinner. It is probably the most used tool in your entire house. Now, I want you to take it over to the window or turn on a bright overhead light. Look at the bottom of the pan, the black surface where you cook the food. What do you see? Is it a smooth, perfect, unbroken sheet of black glass? Or do you see lines? Do you see silver streaks scratching through the black coating? Do you see little flakes missing around the edges? Do you see a dull, gray patch in the center where the coating has worn thin over the years? If you see any of those things, if you see even one deep scratch that exposes the metal underneath, I need you to do something that is going to feel very difficult for you. I need you to take that pan, walk over to your trash can, and throw it away. Right now. Do not donate it. Do not put it in a box for a yard sale. Do not save it for camping. It needs to be destroyed. I know this sounds extreme. We are a generation that does not believe in waste. We were raised to use things until they fell apart. We fix things. We mend things. We make do. Throwing away a perfectly good pan just because of a scratch feels sinful. It feels wasteful. But I am here to tell you that a scratched non-stick pan is not perfectly good. It is a toxic hazard. It is a chemical weapon in your own kitchen. Every time you heat that scratched pan, you are seasoning your food with millions of microscopic plastic particles and invisible chemical fumes that are directly attacking your thyroid, your liver, and your immune system. Today, we are going to have a hard conversation about Teflon, about the chemicals known as PFAS, and about why holding on to that old pan is costing you your health. We are going to explore the science of what happens when that coating breaks, and I am going to guide you back to the safe, traditional cookware that your grandmother used, cookware that will actually help you live longer, not shorter. To understand why a scratch is so dangerous, we have to understand what non-stick actually is. In the middle of the 20th century, science gave us a miracle material called polytetrafluoroethylene, or PTFE. You know it by the brand name Teflon. It was marketed as a revolution for the housewife. Nothing stuck to it. Eggs slid right off. Cleanup was a breeze. It seemed too good to be true. And for a long time, we thought it was magic. But we now know that this magic comes with a heavy price tag. The chemical bond that makes Teflon slippery is one of the strongest bonds in nature. It is a carbon-fluorine bond. Because it is so strong, it doesn't break down in the environment. This is why these chemicals are called forever chemicals. They stay in the earth, and they stay in your body, forever. When the pan is new and the surface is intact, it is generally considered stable. But the moment you scratch it, the moment you use a metal fork to scramble those eggs, or stack another pan inside it without a protector, or scrub it too hard with a steel wool pad, you have broken the seal. When that seal is broken, two terrifying things happen. First, let's talk about the physical particles. A study recently released by researchers in Australia found that a single crack in a non-stick pan can release approximately 9,100 plastic particles during the cooking process. But that's just the big stuff. At a microscopic level, that same crack releases over 2 million microplastics and nanoplastics. 2 million. Every time you cook. Nanoplastics are so small that they don't just pass through your digestive system. They are small enough to cross the barrier of your gut and enter your bloodstream. They travel to your organs. They accumulate in your brain tissue. You are literally eating plastic. You wouldn't take a plastic credit card, grind it into dust, and sprinkle it on your omelet. But that is effectively what you are doing when you cook on a scratched pan. For those of us over 60, our bodies are already working overtime to clear out toxins. Our kidneys and livers are not as efficient as they were when we were 20. Flooding them with millions of plastic particles every morning creates a burden of inflammation that can lead to chronic disease. But the particles are just the vehicle. The passengers on those particles are the chemicals themselves. We need to talk about PFAS. This stands for per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. This is a family of man-made chemicals used to make things water-resistant and non-stick. You might have heard of PFOA, which was the original, bad guy, chemical used in Teflon. It was linked to kidney cancer, testicular cancer, and thyroid disease. The industry will tell you, don't worry, we stopped using PFOA years ago. And that is true. They did. But they replaced it with other chemicals in the same family, like Gen X, which early studies suggest are just as dangerous. These chemicals are endocrine disruptors. This is the most critical part for seniors to understand. Your endocrine system is your hormone system. It controls your metabolism, your sleep, your mood, and your immune response. Endocrine disruptors mimic your natural hormones. They confuse your body. When you ingest these chemicals from your scratched pan, they can mess with your thyroid function. How many of you are on medication for a slow thyroid? How many of you struggle with stubborn weight gain that won't go away no matter how little you eat? How many of you have mysterious fatigue? We often blame this on just getting old. But we have to ask, how much of this is the result of 50 years of exposure to thyroid-disrupting chemicals in our cookware? Then there is the issue of heat. This is the Teflon flu. It sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it is a documented medical condition called polymer fume fever. When a non-stick pan gets too hot, above 500 degrees Fahrenheit, the coating begins to degrade and release toxic fumes into the air. You can't smell them. You can't see them. But if you breathe them in, you can develop flu-like symptoms, chills, fever, headache, body aches. You might think, I never heat my pan that hot. But it happens faster than you think. If you put a dry pan on the burner to preheat and you walk away for 2 minutes to answer the phone, that pan can easily reach 600 or 700 degrees. The fumes start pumping out. If you have a pet bird, this is a tragedy waiting to happen. Birds have very sensitive lungs, and Teflon toxicity kills pet birds instantly. If the fumes are strong enough to kill a bird in the kitchen, what are they doing to your lungs? As we age, our lung capacity diminishes. We are more susceptible to respiratory irritation. Why would we voluntarily introduce a toxic gas into our kitchen? Now, let's address the psychology of hoarding these pans. I know why you still have it. You paid good money for it. Maybe it was a high-end brand. Maybe it was a gift. It feels like a failure to throw it out. You look at the scratch and you think, it's just a little scratch. It's on the side. It doesn't touch the food much. Or you think, I'll just use it carefully. This is the sunk cost fallacy. You think that by keeping the pan, you are saving the money you spent. But you are not saving money, you are spending your health. The cost of a new, safe pan is maybe $30 or $50. What is the cost of thyroid medication? What is the cost of cancer treatment? What is the cost of feeling sluggish and inflamed every day? The math does not support keeping the pan. A scratched pan is a broken tool. If you had a car with a shattered windshield, you wouldn't drive it. If you had a milk jug that was leaking poison, you wouldn't drink from it. A scratched pan is no different. It is a breached containment vessel. So, you have walked to the trash can. You have thrown the pan away. The scary part is over. Now, what do you use? This is where the news gets good. The solution to this problem is not some new, expensive, high-tech gadget. The solution is to go backwards. The solution is to return to the materials that have stood the test of time for centuries. We need to go back to what our grandmothers used. Cast iron and stainless steel. Let's start with cast iron. There is a reason you can still find cast iron skillets from the 1800s that are perfectly usable today. They are indestructible. Cast iron is the original nonstick. When you season a cast iron pan, which just means baking oil into the surface, it creates a natural, polymerized layer that is slippery and safe. It does not release chemicals. In fact, if it releases anything, it releases a little bit of dietary iron, which many seniors are actually deficient in. I know the objections. I can hear you saying them. It's too heavy. It's too hard to clean. I can't lift it with my arthritis. These are valid concerns. Cast iron is heavy. But think of it this way, it is also stable. It doesn't slide around on the burner. If a large skillet is too heavy for your wrists, look for a smaller one, or look for carbon steel. Carbon steel is the lighter cousin of cast iron. It has all the same safety benefits, no chemicals, naturally non-stick when seasoned, but it weighs about half as much. It is what professional chefs use in restaurants. It is easy to maneuver. And cleaning cast iron is not the nightmare people make it out to be. There is a myth that you can never use soap on cast iron. That is false. You can use a little mild soap. Mostly, you just rinse it with hot water, wipe it out, and maybe rub a drop of oil on it. That's it. It is actually easier than scrubbing a delicate Teflon pan because you don't have to be gentle. You can scrape cast iron with a metal spatula and it won't hurt it. You can scour it. It is robust. Then there is stainless steel. This is the workhorse of the safe kitchen. Stainless steel contains no coating. It is just metal. It will not leach chemicals into your food. It is dishwasher safe. It lasts forever. The complaint with stainless steel is that food sticks. I can't make eggs in stainless steel, you say. They stick to the bottom. This is usually user error. We have forgotten how to cook because Teflon made us lazy. With Teflon, you can throw cold eggs in a cold pan and it works. With stainless steel, you have to follow the rules of physics. You must preheat the pan. You let the pan get hot before you put the oil in. Then you let the oil get hot before you put the food in. This creates a Leidenfrost effect, a barrier of steam that prevents the food from sticking. It takes a little practice. Maybe 3 or 4 tries. But once you learn the rhythm of heating the pan, you can fry an egg in stainless steel and have it slide around like a hockey puck. And the best part? You can scrub that pan with steel wool. You can put it in the oven. You can abuse it, and it will never poison you. There is a middle ground called ceramic. You have probably seen these pans, they are often white or gray or colorful on the inside. They are marketed as green pans. They are PTFE free. They use a sand-based coating. These are definitely safer than scratched Teflon. They do not release toxic fumes. However, I have to be honest with you about the longevity. Ceramic pans lose their non-stick ability very fast. Usually within a year. The coating doesn't peel off like Teflon, it just stops working. So, you end up having to buy new pans every year. That is wasteful and expensive. If you want a non-stick option for just your eggs, a ceramic pan is a safe choice, just know that it is a temporary tool, not an heirloom. Let's talk about the utensils. This is part of the problem. Even if you buy a new non-stick pan, which I don't recommend, but if you do, you must banish metal utensils from your house. No metal spatulas. No metal spoons. No forks. If you take a fork to a non-stick pan to check if the chicken is done, you have just murdered the pan. You need silicone or wood. But with cast iron and stainless steel, you can use the metal spatula. In fact, a flat metal spatula is good for cast iron because it helps smooth out the seasoning. It feels good to not have to be precious with your tools. I want to address the PFOA-free label you see in stores. You go to Walmart or Target, and you see a frying pan with a big green sticker, PFOA-free. Non-toxic. You think, great. This one is safe. Be careful. This is often a marketing trick. As I mentioned, PFOA was banned. So all new pans are PFOA free. It's like putting plutonium free on a box of cereal. I certainly hope so. But that doesn't mean it is free of other PFAS chemicals. It doesn't mean it won't release microplastics when you scratch it. Do not let the green sticker fool you. If it is a chemically coated non-stick pan, it carries the risk of the scratch. The safest material is the one that has no chemical coating at all. Let's think about what you cook the most. Eggs. Fish. Pancakes. These are the things we want to slide. For things like soup, boiling pasta, or making a sauce, you should absolutely be using stainless steel. There is zero reason to boil water in a Teflon pot. Why risk the chemicals when sticking isn't even an issue for water? Save the non-stick surface only for the sticky foods, and even then, try to transition to seasoned iron or steel. I want to give you a kitchen audit plan. Step 1, pull out every pot and pan. Step 2, sort them into 2 piles. Pile A is metal, stainless, cast iron, copper. Pile B is coated, black, gray, non-stick. Step 3, inspect pile A. Is the handle loose? Tighten it. They are good to go. Step 4, inspect pile B. Take your reading glasses. Use your fingernail. Run your fingernail across the surface. Can you feel a ridge? Can you see silver metal showing through? Is the coating bubbling or peeling? Step 5, any pan in pile B that fails the test goes into a heavy-duty trash bag immediately. Do not second-guess it. Step 6, assess what is left. Do you need to buy a replacement? Or can you make do with the stainless steel one you already have? If you decide to buy a cast iron skillet to replace your toxic pan, treat it as a new hobby. It is good for your brain to learn a new skill at 60 or 70. Learning how to season it, learning how to clean it, this is engaging. It connects you to the past. It connects you to a slower, more intentional way of living. And the food tastes better. You get a better sear on a steak in cast iron than you ever will in Teflon. You get crispier edges on your cornbread. The pan rewards you for using it. There is a legacy aspect to this too. A Teflon pan ends up in a landfill in 3 years, leaching chemicals into the groundwater. A cast iron skillet gets passed down to your daughter or your grandson. It becomes a family heirloom. It tells a story. This was Grandma's pan. That is a beautiful thing. Nobody says, this was Grandma's scratched Tefal pan from 2005. I also want to touch on the baking sheets. We often forget these. Look at your cookie sheets. Are they non-stick? Are they scratched and rusted? The same rules apply. You are baking your cookies on a bed of plastic flakes. Switch to aluminum baking sheets, the shiny silver ones, and use parchment paper. Parchment paper is a miracle. It makes everything non-stick, it is safe, and it makes cleanup instant. You just throw the paper away. You don't need non-stick coating on your bakeware. We spend so much time worrying about organic vegetables, grass-fed beef, and filtering our water. We read labels on our food. But we ignore the surface the food is cooked on. It is the missing link in the health chain. You can buy the most expensive, organic, free-range eggs in the world, but if you cook them on a peeling Teflon pan, you have just contaminated them. You have turned a health food into a toxic delivery system. This change is empowering. It puts you back in control. When you cook on stainless steel or iron, you know exactly what is in your food. Iron. Steel. Oil. Heat. Food. That's it. No mysterious acronyms. No C8. No Gen X. No polymers. Just honest cooking. It might be frustrating at first. You might burn an egg. You might have to soak a pan. But I promise you, the peace of mind is worth it. Knowing that you aren't poisoning your husband, your wife, or yourself with every meal is a heavy weight lifted off your shoulders. So, be brave. Be ruthless with the trash bag. Say goodbye to the convenience of the 1970s and hello to the safety of the traditional kitchen. Your thyroid will thank you. Your liver will thank you. And honestly, your food will taste better. Take a look at your pans today. Don't wait until tomorrow. The next meal you cook should be a safe one. You have the knowledge now. You know what that scratch means. It is not just a blemish, it is a warning. Heed the warning. Throw it out. And start cooking with confidence again.